Hello and welcome back to a movie watching podcast. This is Cody Michael. I'm joined as always by Seth Ott
Come on now.
and Jared Buckendall.
Hee hee.
I guess we only really get two chances to do that joke, so let's run it back for a second straight week. We are back to talk about the brand new film Michael, which is still playing in theaters. You can go check it out if you haven't yet. All three of us have seen it. We're going to give it a review. We're also going to reveal the results of our betting game and see who made the best predictions about Michael before we saw the movie. So we're going to be in spoiler zone from here on out. So if you haven't seen Michael, it's a good opportunity to pause, go check out the movie, and come back from here. Um, I guess I'll start, and I'll try not to go on for too long. Um, I loved this. Like probably too much, probably an unreasonable amount, probably not going to be able to give a fair assessment of it. But this hit me right in the center like 15 times. The nostalgia hit, the dance hit, the way the music was hitting. I learned a few things. There was some really good performances, I thought, a couple in here. Um, this worked on all the levels for me. I think that it's gonna be really interesting. I'm curious to find out what people were complaining about. Maybe you guys know more than I will. Um, I was expecting maybe to get a little bit more, deeper into his later career,
Mm-hmm.
which is actually really funny because Jared wanted to make a bet about that last. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I wanted like what 1993 or something like that, and the movie gets
Your
to
bet
like
would have hit. You were gonna bet that the movie doesn't get into the white years.
yeah, and you were like, nah, you can't make that bet. I'm like, it's not gonna happen,
And yeah,
and it didn't.
you would have gotten that point. So we'll see about the rest of the bets, but yeah, no, not that one. They stop basically
1988.
when he goes out on his own and leaves the family and becomes just Michael and not one of
Yep.
the five anymore.
Because
Which
that
I think
that
is a good arc. Like unless they're going to come out with part 2 about the second half of his career, I'm fine with stop. They don't all have to show their entire lives. I'm
Mhm.
pretty okay with that. We just saw that with Walk the Line actually.
I mean,
Um
if they do a part 2, like, it's so obvious what the subtitle will be. It'll be Michael Black or White or Black and White or something like that.
Oh, that'd be cool. I would love it if it was just called Jackson, and then
Ooh,
you piece the 2 together.
oh. Oh, wow, okay, throw my idea out.
Well, they won't though because audiences are too stupid. So they're gonna
Who's
have to call it like
Jackson?
The King of Pop, Michael Part 2, the Michael Jackson story. They're gonna have to really lay it out for people. But anyway, I'm gonna gush too much, so maybe you guys have a more measured view on this. What was your general response to Michael when you saw it?
General spots. Um, Jared might have to be more in the middle here because I did not love it. Um,
Ooh.
I
Oh.
had, I had, what I'll say is when I came out of it, it was cotton candy. It was
Okay.
fun. It was,
Uh-huh.
it was empty calories. It was fun for the 2 hours I was there, but I felt like I got nothing, no substance out of it. It felt very Jackson-fied, like Jackson family-fied.
Mhm.
Um, you know how we did walk the line for this, right?
Mhm.
Um, we felt like it was the kind of the baseline. It was, it didn't have the bells and whistles. Um, the thing that movie did do was explore all of Johnny Cash, the good and the bad. Another one, Timothy Chalamet in A Complete Unknown.
Mhm.
He was an asshole, Bob Dylan, but he was incredibly talented. You got to see both sides of it. I don't think eh, we saw the bad things that happened to Michael, but we didn't see his the prime example for me, the part where I rolled my eyes was the scene after the Pepsi incident.
Mm.
He's in the hospital and they're like, "Well, we're going to give you this drug." And he's like, "I don't want drugs." And he's like, "Well, sorry, you got to take it." And to me, it just felt like the family going, "Hey, he didn't want those drugs." I think there are countless other examples in
Yep.
this that they're trying to explain all the controversies, and then they never address the controversies. And maybe that's part
Oh,
two,
okay.
and I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. But if you're doing a true biopic on someone and not just a propaganda ad, um, then you have to explore both of those things. And again, maybe they will with the second one because they're definitely doing a second one. It says his story continues. What else would that mean? They're milking this for as much money as they can. But I think if anything, those references to all of his controversies were more of like explanations as opposed to actual addressing of it. So I felt like it was the very sugar coated version, and that's fine. It was incredibly entertaining. The dancing was awesome. The performances weren't even bad. I liked a lot of it. Coleman Domingo's great. It just when I if I'm seeing a biopic, to me, I think you need all sides of it, if that
Yeah. I
makes sense.
wondered if so I've heard a version of that complaint, and I wonder if um and I don't really know the answer to this, so I don't know. What do you know they didn't show? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know that he's done anything to this point that they've shown. I don't know that there's anything they hid. You know, like I don't think there's a controversy from before then. Like all of I think some people were expecting to get into some of the kids stuff, and that just doesn't make sense for the timeline. And I think some of the stuff, the point outs that you're talking about, I looked at those more as foreshadowing. Um, and so I don't think they were trying to completely tell you like hand wave
Mhm.
the drug stuff, but I think what they were doing is saying the drug stuff is coming for you whether you want it to or not. So I took a lot of those things that way. Like they were trying to allude to foreshadowing, not necessarily trying to kind of hand wave. But that I would understand. If the feeling is there's a bunch of stuff here they didn't show and it looks like they're candy painting it, that makes sense to me. Um, I
I
just don't
just
know what they painted over. I just don't know.
I mean, that's I think there are multiple places that you can get all those different stories from. All the because I think to me with a lot of the other biopics that aren't also this movie was co-produced by the Jackson family, which that also kind of gives you
Yep.
a little
Mhm.
bit of
What they probably had final say of, like,
what,
what's making it, yeah.
and they have kind of had a history of that of the telling of the Jackson story in media, with different documentaries and things. Um, but the other movies, and yeah, to your credit, I mean, he's very young in this movie. He's in his 20s by the early 20s by the end of it, probably.
Something like
Um,
that.
yeah. So there isn't much. I think to me, you don't need to throw those things in there if unless you're gonna show those in the movie. Then if you don't if you're not gonna address it in the movie, then why show the precursors?
I think so people don't say that you ignored them. It's a catch 22, I think. Because if you don't mention them, people are going to say, why didn't you mention
Hmm.
them? And if you mention them too much, that's what the movie's about. And
Yeah.
if you mention them a little bit, then you didn't do it enough. I don't think there's a good way to win that,
Mm-mm.
No.
especially for the family. It's a really important point that the family produced it.
Yeah.
Because there is it seems like they were all pretty unified in disliking Joe, though. Uh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
he was the one that they allowed to do bad things in the movie, but they did
Yeah.
seem to want to protect Michael's image and keep him pretty
Which
innocent.
that always has been the reputation, I believe, too, is that he was not a good person.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So, um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, and obviously, like Michael had a bad life, and I think that's always been, that's always been the kind of discussion around him and the controversies is that the childhood was a bad upbringing. How much does that impact how you are as a as an adult and what the actions he took as an adult and what you want to debate there. I think overall for me though, I I would need to see to get the complete story. That's an impossible movie to do in a complete story in 2 hours. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I don't know. It's if I and I don't know. I only saw the trailer once, so I don't know what they were trying to sell with this. If they were just trying to sell happy, watch this guy, his performances, watch him rise to fame, then they did that well, minus the CGI bubbles. He looked terrible.
Dude, the amount I'm surprised I didn't bet on there being that many CGI animals because every animal, I was like, "What? Get that out of here."
Interesting choice.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, like, it was a fun movie. I was definitely, bopping my feet and dancing around during the music and some of the concerts and all that stuff for sure. I just think the movie itself wasn't great in my eyes.
Mm. Where'd you land, J-Buck? Somewhere
I'm
between the two of us, I imagine.
Oh, yeah, I'm glad I'm going 3rd because, yeah, I agree with both of your, pros, your cons. I'm right there smack dab in the middle because right when the movie kicks off, I was grinning. I was so happy. I was like, "This movie is going to be so much fun." And honestly, the music, like, I don't know, halfway through, I'm like, "Oh, wow, I didn't realize we got to witness a once in a lifetime generation talent. This man had so much power, influence. He was basically a Christ-like figure, and it's insane that this person existed the time we existed. I think that
Mhm.
that's what I loved seeing from this movie. Again, I think it was a little bit almost like a fairy tale version here or there with some of this, like, it was painted in a optimistic light. I don't know if I needed controversy or whatever. I will say I was very surprised when it cut to the credits. I was like, "We're at 1988. What?"
Yeah,
I
that
thought
caught
we
Mhm.
me
were
off guard
getting
too.
I was like and again, the end card where it's like, there's gonna be another Michael. Yes, there probably will be. I guess I had no clue that that was gonna happen, so I felt like
Yeah, same.
not cheated, but almost like, "Oh man, I gotta wait for the next part."
Yeah.
Um I absolutely adored that kid. He was so good singing, dancing.
Yeah.
Like, that scene where they're singing at, like, a carnival or whatever, and he's singing to that little girl in the wheelchair. I
Oh,
was
man.
wet works. I was like,
Oh,
"This is
God.
so much joy." This movie was
Oh,
there was it was hope core. This movie was hope core, and
he knew his power by then, J-Buck. He
yeah,
knew his
see?
power, and he knew how to use it. Oh my god.
Yeah. I don't know. It was there's definitely parts that I really love. There's parts that I absolutely hated. Like you said, every single time that damn CGI monkey one's on the screen, I was like, I can see this is borderline a PNG. Get this off the screen right now. Also, I'm just thinking, I'm like, wait a minute. So theoretically, the most powerful, richest, successful person, you basically gave him a loaded gun by giving him a monkey. That's insane.
Yeah.
What are we
Not
doing here?
not just a monkey, but an entire zoo. Like, what?
Yeah.
Giraffe in the
I don't know. It was
backyard.
crazy. I really liked all of the music video stuff that he
Yep.
did. I mean, we'll get into that later. Like there was some great highlights when they're doing I don't know, I just didn't
Oh, man.
know that part of Michael's life. Like he had so much he had like this vision. I'm like, yes, this guy's creative. He can do like it was just so cool to kind of get that aspect of his story because I didn't know that.
I didn't know he was living with his parents when he made Thriller.
Yeah,
That's insane.
insane. Yeah.
That alone makes the movie worth watching to me. And just thinking about that, I think there's a lot of, I think it's really interesting. I think a lot of a huge impact on how people view this movie is gonna be what they bring into the movie. Because one of the things that really jumped out to me was when he popped out as a kid and was really dancing and stuff, I I had a weird reaction. I got really sad when I saw how happy and joyful he was as a kid
Mhm.
because I'm thinking, God, everything that's about to happen to this fucking kid.
Mhm.
And so like I had that kind of a tint on a lot of the movie. Where it was like even though they weren't gonna show me whatever, I knew what was going on.
Mhm.
And it's like, oh shit, yeah, that does suck that he was probably getting smacked around by his dad while he was
Mhm.
making the biggest album ever made. So like I think that it's going to be very different depending on what your relationship was and with the music because you're right, the music hits. I
Mhm.
don't think anybody's going to debate that the music
Mhm.
smacks in this all the way through. Um, I was dancing my ass off in the seats, probably annoying the shit out of whoever was behind me. Uh, but so let's get into some of the bets because we've alluded to a couple of them already. I Guys, I thought I was gonna have a perfect game when I nailed the opening scene.
Yep, yep.
Dude.
I will take my point for the literally he is walking to the
I
stage and we get a rewind to his childhood.
I died laughing immediately. I'm like,
Yeah, I had
that
a
is
good laugh.
exactly how described and how I pictured it as well.
Mhm.
I think I even nudged Gina and she didn't know why because she hadn't heard the episode. So I was like, I just got a point, babe. Also, shout out to whoever's decision it was to even before the movie started during the studio
Yep.
cards
Yeah, it was
to have him
cool.
going,
Yeah.
Yeah. Come on.
that shit is awesome. Um, so we had, and I imagine one of the reasons why J Buck, you might have been a little upset that they stopped the movie early in his career. We didn't
Yeah.
make it to the Super Bowl halftime show, which I thought would
No.
be an incredible um, scene in this, and I thought would make a good end. When it became clear that we weren't going to go super deep, I thought maybe they'll finish with the halftime show, but we didn't even get there. I'll look forward to that, I guess, in the sequel if they do it. But
Yeah.
I think a rip off here. I would have loved to have seen that.
Yeah, we'll see. I actually looked it up. I didn't realize this, but the ending that ends in like what 1988 or whatever, he did 7 sold out shows in Wembley Stadium, and I guess it's like the Guinness World Record, and that's where it ends. So I mean, that's a good spot, I guess, if you had to pick a spot to end for a sequel. Cool, great, but yeah, I needed that point. So
The way
thanks,
the way
Mike.
I look at it, the way I look at it is you're watching him become Michael,
Yeah,
and that event, I would argue it was probably Thriller, so it was earlier. But I think what they're saying is that's when he's Michael now, and then in the second one he's just Michael. Um, the I cost you a point on that one by not letting you do the bet about not
yeah,
getting
you
him.
didn't. You were like, "Oh, that's a dumb bet." I'm like, "It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna," and it did not happen.
I felt a little bad about that one. We did, however, get to some scenes related to the Pepsi video. And Seth, I didn't look very closely, admittedly. I don't remember seeing anyone partaking in the Pepsi, even though it was mentioned.
No, I think the word Pepsi was said like 15 times,
Yeah.
but I don't think a Pepsi nor a Pepsi logo was even visible in this movie. It was just the word.
Yeah.
And they fucking bagged on Coke a bunch in this movie
They
too.
did. Yeah.
I'm like, this movie is produced by Pepsi and the Jackson family, and and they didn't show any Pepsi.
Big cola.
Man, they got to him. Not up Hollywood. We need the real story about big cola.
It's funny, every time they said Pepsi, though, I was like, "They're teasing us. They're edging us. They're gonna show it eventually," and,
They
yeah,
never did.
no. I'm gonna be honest, I did not know about the whole Pepsi thing, or I didn't realize how
Really?
bad it actually was.
That is one thing I learned about how bad it was. I knew it
Mhm.
happened, but I thought he, like, burned his hair a little bit and then
That's what
was,
I thought, yeah.
back on the scene the next day.
Yeah, I knew it was pretty gnarly, but not. I didn't know much of the specifics. I didn't know much of the specifics. So I already dicked us up because I got so excited about the opening. That was my 3 pointer. I gave it out of
Oh,
order.
shit.
Um,
Okay.
Oh, well.
so I
From
already have three.
downtown!
My 1 pointer I do not get. Although I do think my 1 point bet should keep an asterisk and should be pending
Wait,
because
what is it?
my bet was that the skin tone change would happen during either a montage or a time jump. And I think maybe when that second movie comes out, he might be white. So I think I should maybe like later on we
Oh,
might come
yeah.
back and rescore this if the sequel.
Well, for Jackson, then we'll just carry that bet over for Jackson.
There we go. I'll take the free point for Jackson. Um, so your guys' 3 pointer, J-Buck, we were talking a second ago about Bubbles the monkey. So we thought we were going to get a lot of fruit action. We thought 3 fruits, including 1 banana. I don't remember even seeing the banana here. Not a lot. Not a very fruity film,
Yeah, he didn't
which is
eat
very different
anything.
from what my dad will say. But I did not see.
Yeah, not a damn piece of fruit in this movie. I'm convinced that they spent the whole craft services, budget on that damn monkey.
Mhm.
Very well might.
I was like, "Give him a banana at least," but no, not a single piece of fruit in this whole movie.
They thought that would be a little too spot on to give the
Yeah,
monkey
no.
a banana. Speaking of spot on, I thought we would get this. Chef thought that we would get to see Michael Jackson in some sort of crown,
Oh,
either in
yeah.
imagery or an actual wearing. I don't recall seeing this one. Seth, did you spot it?
Nope, I did not. I think this was like the synopsis said, it was on his rise to becoming the king of pop. Wasn't quite crowned yet by the end of this, so
Mm,
He's still in the running.
yeah.
so maybe another carryover bet.
Ooh,
Yep.
yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, we'll have to. Well, I guess we have to carry over the fruits too.
Yep, carry the fruits over.
I mean, Bubbles is still out there. We could just
Yeah.
go feed him some fruit and see what happens.
Watch, the opening scene is just them at a fruit buffet. It's gonna be
Oh, Bubbles, I love you. So neither of your guys' 3-pointers hit. Mine does. We have the opening with a pre-huge show scene before rewinding back to the beginning. Electrifying shit, honestly. My 5-pointer did not hit, though, however. I was betting, and maybe we penned this to the next one as well. I was betting that we would get proof that he is putting on the Michael Jackson voice and that he actually talks more like a regular person. In reality, what I noticed is that it sounds like what he's doing is talking like his mom, because his mom sounds just
Mm.
like that. And I'm betting that they told her to sound like that because they know that he was trying to sound like his mom. So
Interesting.
there was one of my new things that I learned. In addition to the general MJ voice, Jared thought that we would get the hee-hees and the crotch grab and the moonwalk and see a little bit of an origin or creation of those things. Not present. We did
No.
see the debut of the moonwalk though.
Yes.
He plays Billie Jean and he does the moonwalk, and I have seen that video a bunch of times. That is a replication of the actual show where he debuted the moonwalk. So that was a very cool
Man.
scene. But we didn't get no crotch grabbing. I think
No.
that's more of a 90s move.
Yeah.
The hee-hees were right there from the opening credits, so
Yeah, I
no
was gonna
origin
say,
to those.
you could argue that the shuffling from watching the TV and stuff, that eventually turned into moonwalk, that's a stretch.
true.
But he's I don't know where those came from. I don't know, he was feeling it one day probably, and they just squeaked out.
Just couldn't
So
stop
no
it.
points.
So we go on to the 5-pointer from Seth. So I am on the board with 3 points right now. And so Seth can win this by hitting his 5-point bet. The 5-point bet was we needed to see at least 3 different music video sets. We got Thriller. We got. Did we
Don't
get
Stop.
Bad?
Don't Stop Till You Get Enough was the first one.
Don't
There's a
Stop Till You Get Enough. We got.
That was the
So there's 2.
montage.
I think we only had 2, right?
So beat it. Was that part of they're doing is that part of the video or not? That's my one question.
Beat It's
'Cause
the
what
one I was
part?
thinking of where it has the gang members there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I
Is
would
that part
allow
of
it
the
then.
video though?
I think it is.
Yeah, that's yeah, because I've seen that music video. That's
They were, like, hanging out in the background.
yeah.
Okay.
Which I had no clue he was doing that kinda stuff.
Yeah, I didn't know it went that far back into the past.
Yeah.
Trying to bring the gangs together. But yeah, that's what Beat It is. Beat It and Bad are both about. Basically, you don't have to beat people up and kill them in order to be a man.
Uh-huh.
Cool message, especially in the 80s.
Mhm.
So we got them. And by the way, we got the Pepsi thing was a music video too, right? So
Yeah,
we
that
didn't
was
even count that one.
that was the other one where I was like, I don't know, because did that ever get released? Did they? Because it was supposed to be a commercial, I think.
Oh,
I
really?
doubt it got released.
Yeah,
But maybe.
but it was a set, and they were dancing to music, and the Jackson 5 were singing. So I thought that was technically a music video.
Man, good call with that.
It counts. So from the top of the key, Chef hits at the buzzer. Give him the LeBron sound. Chef, you are our winner on the Michael bets. And that means you get to lead us off with our reviews. Do you have a pull quote? And what is your man? I should have tried harder on this one so I could skew the vote high. I don't know where we're gonna land here.
So
You got to kick us off though.
Well, we'll do our aggregate. I think. I mean, I'm good with coming to a consensus on this one because I think we're going to be so far off. But I don't have a pull quote yet.
Yeah, me
Um,
neither. I always
um,
forget.
but my star rating would have and my current letterbox has it as 2 out of 5.
2 out of 5. I think that makes sense relative to what you were saying. That's
Yeah.
about what I was expecting. I will go in the same order. How about that? I am gonna come in. I'll make it quick. I'm gonna come in at a 4. 4 for me means I enjoyed it a lot. I felt something, and I'm gonna watch it again. So for me, it's a 4.
And I'm pretty much probably hitting right in between. Mine's gonna be a 3.
Does that just make it a 3 overall for the?
I mean, you get to ultimately pick, I think, though.
Yep, that would be the math. But yeah, you get to make the final call, chef.
I'll give it a 3. We'll settle at 3. That's a.
There we
I mean,
go.
it's right down the middle, but it's also perfect for this. I think it's truly how we all feel
Yeah.
about the movie.
I think it will prove to be there will prove to be a spectrum of responses to it in the way that
Hmm.
we've shown. So, not that we did it on purpose, but I think this is pretty indicative of what folks are going to think when they see this. So, make sure you guys get out. If you haven't seen this, sorry, we just spoiled the whole thing. But make sure you go out and get your own opinion of it and don't miss it while it's in theaters. I think we can all agree real quickly. Huge, see this in huge format, loudspeaker,
Hmm.
huge screen. Definitely worth doing that, right?
Hmm.
There you go. So see it for the music scenes, if nothing else. This is Michael. Seth is the champion. We're giving it a 3 out of 5. Make sure you get us on Letterboxd so that you can follow all of our reviews. And we want to see yours as well. So friend us up over there. Seth, you as our champion are going to pick a theme for a future episode. But because we did Michael this week, J Buck, as the champion from the Fast Times at Ridgemont High episode, you have chosen our very next theme, which is going to be for our next movie. What do we have that the folks can look forward to?
There's a few things I narrowed it down to. Ultimately, I'm gonna settle on bird movies. Movies involving some sort of bird.
Okay, movies involving birds. We're gonna. I have no idea where we're gonna go with this one.
Yeah, I have no clue.
Last time I was able to Google coming of age movies, I got a really nice list that was. I think we're gonna have to do a little homework for bird movies.
A little homework and a little deciphering on what exactly we could
Yeah.
constitute as a bird movie.
There you go. Yeah, hit the comments and let us know how you think we should define bird movie, because we could use the input. I think, but it does give you an idea of some of the. We have a deep bench of themes that we're excited to get to, and this is from one of the wackier corners of
Bird
that bench.
movie.
So don't forget to come back next week to find out what bird movie we will be reviewing next. Before we let you go for the week, let's let you know what we have been watching. First of all, going to return to a movie, Jared, I think you watched a week or two ago. I got out to the theater last night, saw Over Your Dead Body. This is the Jason Segel and Samara Weaving one. Uh, this is a cool movie. I'm glad I didn't go with my girlfriend. She doesn't like scary things, and so she didn't want to go. But yeah, this is a good movie, a good movie for couples to watch, uh, but do so at your own risk. There's a lot of couple analysis to be done on this movie, I think, but not a ton, just a couple scenes. But the this has a fun tone. I think you said this, like they strike a good balance between the comedy and the horror elements. It is a surprisingly gory, but I laughed so hard, and I think in your review you said you never knew what was going to happen in the
Yep.
next 20 minutes. And I firmly agree with that entirely. There was there was one part of the movie where if you had shown me a still of two scenes that were 45 seconds apart, I would have been like, these aren't that you either Photoshop that or this is not the same movie. And some of them are so rewarding. Some of the twists and turns in this, really enjoyed it. Thought it was really entertaining. Yorma, we're all Yorma Taccone fans here.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
Good job to him and all the crew on Over Your Dead Body. Um, I got to a special showing also. I don't know if you guys have seen this. They were playing retro movies as they always are at my Regal. And we had Purple Rain, the Prince movie from the 80s.
Purple Rain.
Neither of you guys have seen this, right?
I
Mm-mm.
think I've seen maybe the opening 5 minutes and that's it.
Okay. So Purple Rain to me, I don't know exactly how it was made, but to me it gives me the feeling of a an album that they wrote a movie around. And so there's this loose story about Prince is the main character who's called the Kid, and he's in a band called the Revolution, and he meets a girl, and his the funniest thing to me, you guys will appreciate this. Uh, the funniest thing to me was his rival is Morris Day and the Time,
Yes.
and they have that song "Drunk
Oh,
Lover."
oh.
Oh, wow.
I think I wanna know ya.
And they have that dance
Yeah.
with it.
So it's my favorite part about Purple Rain is it was me and one old white guy in this theater. He's like 5 rows behind me, and I don't like when people are behind me, like when there's that few of us. So every now and then I kind of check on him. I checked on him one time. He had his hands in the air and was grooving out to Prince
No
during one of the concert
way.
scenes. Yeah, this guy was
Yes.
going nuts. It was awesome.
Amazing.
Hell yeah. That
Uh,
right there, that's who those retro screenings are for.
You and that old guy.
honestly, it was a beautiful moment that brought us together. I'm ashamed I didn't stop to talk to him afterwards. So Purple
Uh,
Rain, if you're gonna go watch Purple Rain, my warnings are it was made in the 80s, so there are sudden boobs and slurs. So just watch out for that. But I'm starting to understand that we just should just expect that stuff.
What a pro con right there.
This movie is rated
You don't know what you're gonna
S
get. Flip of the coin.
for sudden boobs and slurs.
The music rips though. Honestly, it does.
That song and that Morris Day, they're in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back,
Yeah.
which is why I know that, and they do that dance at the end of that movie.
Yeah, I didn't know that that's who it was for a while until they played that song. And I was like, "Oh, that's the motherfucking time."
Yes, I love it.
So that was a nice treat. I do recommend, I don't know if you guys do much of this, but I do recommend some of the retro stuff in the theater. I've had a nice experience. I went to Blazing Saddles not that long ago, which again, I cannot stress enough about these movies from the 80s. Boobs, slurs, every time. Um, so I did like Purple Rain though. You could watch a lot of 5-minute segments of Purple Rain and love all of them. That's more time than I had intended to spend on that movie. I actually had to hustle out at the end of Purple Rain to get into my showing of Hokum.
Ooh.
This is Adam.
What?
What a double
What a
feature.
contrast in
Yeah.
movies. Oh my lord.
You know,
And you had to hurry. You had to rush. There was no time between.
Yeah, what a sudden adjustment.
I didn't stop to think about it till just this second. But you're
like,
right.
oh, you're grooving in there, and all of a sudden a witch pops up on you.
No, literally, it was, I'm waving my arms around doing Purple Rain, and then that scene ends. It turns out there's like more time in that movie. But I took off out of there, watched a trailer, and then Hokum came on. So yeah, it was a little bit jarring. I maybe should have flipped him, because Hokum, I tell you, I will say this: we're on a little bit of a hot streak horror wise because Hokum pretty goddamn scary.
Ooh.
You have Adam Scott. Am I getting the name right?
Yep.
Adam Scott, who from Severance and Parks and Rec and other great stuff. We really like him. He's the lead in this. He is going to a hotel in I think it's rural Ireland. It could be Scotland. It seems like one of those places to me. And he's there to spread the ashes of his parents. And while he's doing so, he comes across the Hokum, which is basically there's a rumor or a folktale about a oh, actually, this is kind of really funny. The the tale is that there was a woman who was killed in the honeymoon suite, and she haunts the hotel and has become a hokum, which is the
Winifred
exact
Rogers gets
backstory
cold feet.
is of David Pumpkins. That's the
Yeah.
exact
Yeah. Yep.
Winifred Rogers got cold feet and hung herself in the honeymoon
sweet.
suite.
I was thinking about that a lot, and I don't think that this character committed suicide in the movie or whatever. Um, but I'm pretty sure that's like the folkloric background of the what's going on. And Adam Scott and some other characters, you know, decide that they need to investigate the honeymoon suite, and you get a bunch of horror stuff that happens in there. Very scary, very not twisty, but they kept me guessing in the same way that All Over Your Dead Body did. Even though this is a horror movie set in a small hotel, I was surprised several times at the direction
Hmm.
they took things and the new things that they introduced and when, and the way that they would kind of turn things and flip them in order to get more use out of the same thing. Jared mentioned this in Over Your Dead Body. There will be like an item they use in one scene in one way that they bring back in another scene in another way. And it's just really cool to see the economics of that happening. They do the same thing with Hokum, but like in space. So they'll have characters in a space together, and then they'll put them in the same space, but move them around, and it'll change the power dynamic between them and change the way the scene is kind of shaped. So kind of some of that stage
Weird.
play type stuff that's
Huh.
fun to watch. Um, I like that in a small set type movie. But Hokum has some genuine scares. I would put it right up there with some of the other stuff I've seen recently. Not quite as disturbing as The Mummy, Lee Cronin's The Mummy, which I
Oh
reviewed
man.
a week or 2 ago, but definitely near there in terms of spooks and frights. Chef, definitely have your jump scare antenna up for this one if you are gonna see it. But I do recommend this to the horror people, but you probably caught this opening weekend if you are one of those people.
You know what's a bummer? Like, because yeah, you've been talking a lot about good horror movies this year. Um, and I've been able to get past that in years past. But it sounds to me like with these ones, they're because a lot of like the quote unquote like you know artisanal horror, however you want to call it, like the
Elevated horror
Seasonal.
is what they say.
elevated horror. There we go. Is has been a little less scary, more like disturbing. And it
Yeah.
sounds like these are more scary, like jump scare and like very like frightening and disturbing and good. And I'm like, I don't want if you're putting all those together into one, I don't want to see that. Just like two of them was okay, maybe.
Yeah. This I would say Hokum qualifies as scary, and then Lee Cronin's The Mummy, my full review of that movie is that movie's fucking scary, dude. And
Oh
I
Uh,
haven't said that
man.
about a movie in probably quite some time. I don't probably not as long as I think, but I
do
couldn't
you
tell you
think
the
like
last time.
maybe like weapons kind of peaked it? Because like that to me, weapons is a
Mm.
perfect example.
It
I
scared
was
the
It's a
hell out of
good
me. Yeah.
balance.
I was scared during that movie, but I love that movie, and I think there was a lot more to it even past the horror.
Yep.
These movies sound genuinely terrifying
Yeah.
and also constantly terrifying, and then also like have interesting stories to them. I'm like, I need to either watch that at home or have Cody do explaining a horror movie to
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
Honestly, I might have to dust that old playbook off and because there's some good turns and stuff in Hokum and some creative things. It's nice improvements and uh frosting on an otherwise kind of familiar cake, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
And I was even like kind of thinking going into this, knowing Adam Scott was in it, and he'd kind of talked about it on there was a Severance podcast that they were doing, and they kind of talked about it during that when he was filming that. And I was like, oh, maybe I'll see that one. It sounds kind of interesting. And then I see one clip from it. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to that in the movie theater.
Mhm.
You can't pay me enough or give me enough of a review to go see that one in the theater just based on
Yeah.
that one scene.
The intrigue has its hooks in me, but yeah, that's gonna probably be one that I'm gonna have to watch with the lights on and during the day.
Yeah.
And
I
outside and
And yeah, yeah.
I think that will take a lot of the, beef out of it or however you would describe. Um, it won't hit as close to center that way, which,
Yeah.
might allow you to actually enjoy the plot a little bit more. But keep them coming. I'm enjoying the horror thing. I do love the way horror has always done well to include comedy. Like even some of the first Freddy Krueger stuff is funny.
Yeah.
Um, and so I think that's always been there, but the way it's working currently, I'm really liking that you're having some of these uh, horror filmmakers that are a little bit more comedically aware. It doesn't have to be hilarious, but if you have the right amount of comedic relief, you can get away with some pretty scary stuff and still reach a wide audience. So I think that's what Weapons did successfully. So we'll see what the
Mhm.
next big one is. Kreger, this is a short one since I was the only one that went to the theater this week. But J Buck, I know you watched. Speaking of weapons and Kreger, I know you're stoked on the Resident Evil trailer. I saw that you posted a reaction to this one. Does it look like Kreger's on the right track on Resident Evil? You know more about
Yeah,
that
they
franchise than I do.
yeah, they released the first, like, kinda I don't know, I think it was like a 2-minute trailer for, yeah, his Resident Evil movie, and I actually have a lot of faith in him because obviously Barbarian, I loved Weapons, I loved, like I kinda like his vibe, he knows what he's doing, and, also I listened to a couple interviews and, like, he's a hardcore Resident Evil fan, like, he says that 4 is his favorite, I really enjoy 4, but he'll, like, beat it and then instantly start over, so it seems like he's steeped in the lore of it and everything, but obviously, if you want to know kind of like internet drama or whatever, I guess like a bunch of people are like, "This isn't Resident Evil. This isn't Resident Evil." And I'm
Hmm.
like, "Well, what does make a Resident Evil movie a game or like if you just have a zombie like that and maybe Umbrella Corporation shows up at some point, like that's Resident Evil."
Mhm.
I have full faith in it. It looks really cool. He mentioned or it's described as the Fury Road of zombie movies. So if it's just him
Wow.
getting from point A to point B and he has to avoid stuff, cool.
Yeah, I do really like that trailer too. It gives me the Fury Road comparison is good. But yeah, because the trailer gives a sense that he's moving through a lot of different types of things.
Mhm.
There's some crazy cool imagery in this. I don't know if Krager's working with the same cinematographer as before, but they're doing well to find some really cool shots in here. So
Yeah.
yeah, I dig that trailer too.
Um,
Go ahead, Jeff.
I was gonna say what one more on the horror front, which actually this one, based on some of the reviews I was reading, I might actually go to. But the Obsession, that movie comes out in a few
Oh
weeks.
yeah,
Um, and that is getting that's art. I think it has a handful of reviews, and that's like 95% on Tomatoes right now. Um, and it sounds like it's less of that of like the Hokum type horror and a little more like actiony. It sounds like.
Hmm.
Huh.
So I'm
I
down for that one.
I truly only know the name of that movie. I know nothing else.
If you, uh,
You want me to give you a one sentence synopsis?
yeah,
Sure.
It seems to me that the one sentence synopsis is um, a guy wishes for love and
He gets it.
yep.
yeah,
Okay. 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 Okay.
yeah. Just to add a little bit more, and the first trailer is the only one I've seen fully, I think, and it's one of the only times recently that I'm like, that trailer sold it for me.
Yeah.
It's a guy in his car and he has like something in his hand. I think there's like a number he called or something like that. I read the synopsis. It says One Trick Willie or something like that. And uh
I'm
he
already
calls
sold.
he wishes for a certain woman to love him, and he's on the phone, I think, to try and to get it to stop. Like something went wrong, and then that's
Oh, so this one trick Willie is he's a trickster.
I guess. I think that's what I didn't
Well,
read
what if he has
exact
to hunt down like a little like Rumpelstiltskin man and be like, "Hey, I want my wish back."
Oh my god.
God, that'd be cool. I don't know if
Honestly,
that's at all possible, but that'd be cool.
the way horror movies have been going in recent memory, that's exactly what's gonna happen, and the
Uh-huh.
Rumpelstiltskin's gonna have a pig head and wings.
All right,
I
come
tell you,
back in a few weeks when we know.
I have seen hundreds at this point of horror movies, and I'm not like the biggest aficionado in the world. I like horror more than you guys, but there's a lot of people that like it even more than I do. I have seen a lot of crazy shit, and they're coming up with stuff these days that is just a level of creativity, and I hesitate to call it that because it's so sinister.
Yeah, it's insane.
There's a
People
fine
are
line, a
I
fine line.
I truly am I cannot relate to the people that are coming up with this stuff, and I'm very glad for that fact, except for that it
Mm.
seems to be lucrative. So, good for y'all. Keep doing what you do. I'm glad that this stuff gets funded. You know, I'm glad that these freaks are getting their rocks off
Oh,
because
Oh my
yeah.
god.
Yep.
oh, shout out to the horror people out there. We love you.
Shout out to the freaks.
Yeah, we love you freaks. Oh man. Hey, one actual last thing before we let you guys go. Wanted J Buck, want to give you a shout out. You made a post today. I didn't realize this, but you're celebrating an anniversary. I saw 9 years since you started in the YouTube game and had your first post. I know we talk about this time a lot. When we all the three of us kind of started to get each other more around that time, get to know each other more around that time. And so I remember very specifically the Guardians of the Galaxy trailer being the very or movie review being the very first one. What so congrats on the anniversary. How is it to think about like 9 years? And what do you still like really like remembering about those first little bit of time?
It's weird to think about because I was sat here all day counting on my fingers. I'm like, "That math's not right. It's only 8 years. It can't be 9." And I'm just like, "Holy crap. That's like it's been a long time, man." But, like, that first review, just not having a damn clue, writing a few notes on a piece of paper. That's actually the second time I filmed that review because the first one was even worse than that one. So, like, it's just fun to, like, think about that, and weirdly, like, those first 6 months are, like, nostalgic because I remember going to all those movies, sitting in a corner, like, cross-legged with 2 posters behind me, talking to the worst camera ever, the worst microphone ever, the worst I was editing at, like, 5 frames per second over here in a folding chair, like, it's so weird
Man.
if you just stay consistent, it's like, it's crazy where you'll go and whatnot. I mean, Cody, I'm sure you've seen that with your comedy and everything over the last decade and whatnot. It's just a crazy thing that I've been able to do. And then also it's funny because like what 2, 3 weeks after that first review, that's when we went to that party, all 3 of
Uh-huh.
us. And
Yep.
basically you guys talked about how you were like thinking about doing something too. And then boom, fast forward and we're here too. So
That's
it's been
so
There
great.
a crazy almost decade.
I can't wait to have it actually be a decade, but and then more. But you're exactly right on kind of the snowballing accumulation of just the shit you have to learn, you know. And I had forgotten that you were sitting on the ground there, and then you had to figure out how to green screen it in so that it looked like you were sitting on the ground to save your knees. Like
Yeah.
that's one of the first problems you had to deal with. And now all of the stuff that takes you no time that used to take you 2 hours. And I think anybody who spent a lot of time, you know, in anything understands the accumulation. And we're getting old enough now where we've gotten our 10,000 hours in on one thing or another. And it is very cool. It gives me an extra appreciation for like the people who play the fuck out of a guitar or like paint really well. It's like as long as you've been doing what you've been doing, they were just painting. And that's just a cool perspective to now have. So that yeah, it is fun to look back on the snowballing of it all,
Mhm.
which is well earned, especially in your world where you know there was you know a not insignificant financial risk to you figuring out each of those issues.
Oh, yeah, yeah, and it's also been just interesting that over, like, 9 years, I haven't just been doing one exact same thing, like, I've done or tried almost anything and everything. I found things that I hate, I found things that I love, I found things that I'm really good at, some things that I'm not so good at, so it's been fun to kinda try all of that, but also
Cool.
just be able to do all of that too, because just, like, I don't know. I weirdly live my life or my skill set to like a video game where I'm like, okay, everything has to be the same level. one thing can't outshine another thing. So, like,
Yeah.
weirdly, that's helped in a roundabout way of, like, knowing how to present on screen or edit or write or anything about that.
Hey, you got to be a hyphenate these days, it seems.
Yeah, 8 job
Gentlemen.
titles.
Well, hey, congrats on year 9,
Oh yeah.
and 9 more to go before you can retire. Um, but get those snowballs rolling out there, folks. If you haven't yet, there's your reason why today. Make sure you come on back next week. We're gonna reveal which bird movie has been
Bird
chosen. I
movie.
still don't know how we're gonna figure that the fuck out, but we'll have a bird movie to talk about. So make sure you go check out Michael if you didn't. Sorry for spoiling it. Go to Letterbox for the review. For Jared Buckendahl, Seth Ott, I'm Cody Michael. We'll see you next week.